So this is the Ribhu Gita, chapter 26, verse 1. I shall explain the existence, consciousness, supreme bliss, which is ever joy by its own virtue. It is by itself the core of the essence of all the Vedas and the Puranas. There is no difference, duality, or pairs of opposite characters. No difference and nothing devoid of differences. This alone is Supreme Brahman, afflictionless and attainable by knowledge. There is nowhere anything as this alone am I, nothing that is decayless, nothing beyond the beyond. This alone is Supreme Brahman, afflictionless and attainable by knowledge. There is no outside, no inside, no I, no will, or no form. This alone is Supreme Brahman, afflictionless and attainable by knowledge. There is no truth, none who has renounced, no accounts, no corruption of values. This alone is Supreme Brahman, afflictionless and attainable by knowledge. There is no quality, no qualified statement, no mental certitude, no japa, no limitation, nothing pervading and unreal fruits. Na guru na cha shishyo va, na sthiram na shubha shubham, naika rupam nanya rupam na, moksho na cha bandhakam. There is no guru, no disciple, nothing fixed, nothing auspicious or inauspicious, nothing uniform or of different form, no liberation and nothing that binds. Aham padarthastat padam va, nendriyam vishayadikam, na sanshayam na tuchham va, na nishchayam na vakritam. There is no meaning for the word aham or the word that, no senses nor the objects, no doubt, nothing trifling, no certitude, nor anything made. Na shanti rupam advaitam, na chodhvam na cha nichakam, na lakshanam na dukkhangam, na sukham na cha chanchalam. There is nothing of the form of peace, no non-duality, nothing above nor below, no trait, no sorrowful body, no pleasure, and nothing fickle. न शरीरं न लिङ्गं वा न कारणमकारणम् न दुःखं नान्तिकं नाहं न गूढं न परं पदम्. There is no body, no sign, neither cause nor the absence of cause, no sorrow, no conclusion, no I, nothing mysterious, and no transcendental state. न सञ्चितं च नागामि न सत्यं च त्वमाहकम् न ज्ञानं न च विज्ञानम् न मूढो न च विज्ञवान्. There is no karma that is accumulated, nor that is yet to be realized. No truth, no you or I, no ignorance, no knowledge, no dunce, and no pandit. न नीचं नरकं नान्तं न मुक्तिर्न च पावनम् न तृष्णा न च विद्यात्वम् नाहं तत्त्वं न देवता. There is no base hell, no conclusion, no liberation, and nothing purifying. No craving, no learning, no I, no knowledge, and no deity. न शुभाशुभसङ्केतः न मृत्युर्न च जीवनम् न तृप्तिर्न च भोज्यं वा न खण्डैकरसोऽद्वयम्. There is no sign of the auspicious or the inauspicious. No death, no life, no satisfaction, nothing enjoyable, no undivided unitary essence, and no non-duality. न संकल्पं न प्रपञ्चम् न जागरणराजकम् न किञ्चित् समता दोषः न तुल्यगणना भ्रमः. There is no will, no world, no wakefulness or sovereignty, not even a trifle of the defect of equality whatever. No delusion of counting the fourth state. न सर्वं समलं नेष्टं न नीतिर्न च पूजनम् न प्रपञ्चं न बहुना नान्यभाषणसङ्गमः. There is no all or impure, nothing adorable, no morality, no worship, no word, no plurality, no admixture of other sayings. न सत्सङ्गमसत्सङ्गः न ब्रह्म न विचारणम् नाभ्यासं न च वक्ता च न स्नानं न च तीर्थकम्. There is no satsanga or the lack of satsang, no Brahman, no inquiry, no practice, no speaker, no ablution, and no holy waters. न पुण्यं न च वा पापं न क्रियादोषकारणम् न चाध्यात्मं नाधिभूतं न दैवतमसम्भवम्. There is no merit, nor there is sin. No actions causing defects, nothing related to the self, nothing related to the physical, nothing related to the divine. न जन्ममरणे क्वापि जाग्रत् स्वप्न सुषुप्तिकम् न भूलोकं न पातालम् न जयापजयाजयो. There is no birth or death anywhere. No states of waking, dream and sleep. No realm of the earth or the netherworld. No victory or defeat. न हीनं न च वा भीतिः न रतिर्न मृतिस्त्वरा अचिन्त्यं नापराध्यात्मा निगमागमविभ्रमः. There is no wretched, no fear, no sensuality, no quick death, nothing unthinkable, no one guilty, nor the delusion of sacred lore. न सात्विकं राजसं च न तामसगुणाधिकम् न शैवं न च वेदान्तम् न स्वाद्यं तन्न मानसम्. There is no quality such as the serene or the active or the excessive dullness. No Shaivism, no Vedanta, no sacred study, nor the related interest. न बन्धो न च मोक्षो वा न वाक्यम् ऐक्यलक्षणम् न स्त्रीरूपं न पुंभावः न षण्डो न स्थिरः पदम्. There is no bondage nor liberation either. No sentence, no characteristics of identity, no female form, no male form, no condition of being neither female nor male, no permanent state. न भूषणं न दूषणं न स्तोत्रं न स्तुतिर्न हि न लौकिकं वैदिकं न शास्त्रं न च शासनम्. There is no praise, no slander, no hymn, verily no eulogy, nothing worldly, nothing pertaining to the Vedas, no scripture, nor any commandment. न पानं न कृशं नेदं न मोदं न मदामदम् न भावनमभावो वा न कुलं नाम रूपकम्. There is no drinking, no emaciation, none of this, no joy, no arrogance, or the absence of it, no mood or the lack of it, no caste, nor name, and no form. नोत्कृष्टं च निकृष्टं च न श्रेयो श्रेय एव हि निर्मलत्वं मलोत्सर्गः न जीवो न मनोदमः. There is nothing outstanding, nothing base, no prosperity, nor verily the opposite of it, no blemishlessness or excretion, no individual soul or control of mind. न शान्तिकलनानागम् न शान्तिर्न शमोदमः न क्रीडा न च भावाङ्गः न विकारं न दोषकम्. There is no manifestation of peace, nothing attainable, no peace, no restraint of senses and mind, no sport, no part of existence, no transformation, and no defect. न यत्किञ्चिन्न यत्राहम् न मायाख्या न मायिका यत्किञ्चिन्न च धर्मादि न धर्मपरिपीडनम्. There is nothing whatsoever in the least, nothing of the eye anywhere, nothing of what is called Maya, delusive power, nothing associated with Maya, no righteousness anywhere in the least, no persecution of dharma. न यौवनं न बाल्यं वा न जरामरणादिकम् न बन्धुर्न च वा बन्धुः न मित्रं न च सोदरः. There is no youth, no boyhood, no senility, no death, and such. No relative, no one unrelated, no friend, and no brother.
Reading from Yoga Vasistha, Rama asked, Holy Sir, some there are who rest in self-knowledge, who are enlightened, and yet engage themselves in activities. And there are others who isolate themselves and practice contemplation. So we're reading from Yoga Vasistha. Am I audible now? Rama asked, Holy Sir, some there are who rest in self-knowledge, who are enlightened and yet engage themselves in activity. And there are others who isolate themselves and practice contemplation, that is samadhi. Of these, who is the better? Vasishtha replied, Rama, that is samadhi, contemplation or meditation, in which one realizes the objects of the senses are not self, and thus one enjoys inner calmness and tranquility at all times. Having realized that objects are related only to the mind, and therefore constantly resting in inner peace, some are engaged in activity while others live in isolation. Both of them enjoy the bliss of contemplation. In the mind of one who appears to be in samadhi is distracted, he is a madman. On the other hand, if the mind of one who appears to be a madman is free from all notions and distractions, he is enlightened and he is in unbroken samadhi. Whether he is engaged in activity or he lives in isolation in a forest, in enlightenment there is no distinction. The mind, which is free from conditioning, is not tainted even while it is engaged in activity. The non-action of the mind is known as samadhana. It is total freedom. It is blessedness. The difference between contemplation and its absence is indicated by whether or not there is movement of thought in the mind. Hence, make the mind unconditioned. The unconditioned mind is firm, and that in itself is meditation, freedom, and eternal peace. The conditioned mind is the source of sorrow. The unconditioned mind is a non-actor and attains to the supreme state of enlightenment. Hence, one should work to remove all mental conditioning, that is known as contemplation or samadhi, in which all the desires and hopes concerning the world have ceased and which is free from sorrow, fear, and desire, by which the self rests in itself. Mentally renounce all false identification of the self with objects here, and then live where you like, either at home or in a mountain cave. To that householder whose mind has attained utter quietness, his house itself is the forest. If the mind is at peace, and if there is no ego sense, even in cities are as void. On the other hand, forests are like cities to him, whose heart is full of desires and other evils. The distractions of the mind subside in deep sleep. Enlightenment attains enlightenment. Do as you please. He continues, he who sees the self as the transcendent being or an eminent being is established in equanimity. He in whom likes and dislikes have ceased, to whom all beings are the same, and who perceives the world in the wakeful state as if he perceives object in the dream. He is established in equanimity and lives in a forest even while living in a village. He who moves about with his consciousness turned in upon itself views a city or a village as a forest. He who has attained inner tranquillity and peace finds peace and tranquillity everywhere in the world. He whose mind is agitated and restless finds the world full of restlessness. For what one experiences within, that alone he experiences outside. In fact, the sky, the earth, the air, the space, the mountains, the rivers are all part of the inner instrument that is the mind. They only appear to be outside. All these exist like the tree and the seed. They are externalized like the scent of a flower. Truly, there is nothing either inside or outside. Whatever the consciousness conceives of, in whatever manner, appears so. Thus, the self alone is all this, within and without. He who is filled with inner delight, who is now swayed by exultation, who is not swayed by exultation or sorrow, and who performs actions merely with his physical body, he is established in equanimity. He is pure as the sky, he is free from desires, his actions are appropriate and spontaneous. And in relation to exultation and sorrow, he behaves as if he is made of wood or clay. He is at peace. He sees all as his own self. He considers others' possession as dirt, naturally and not through fear. He alone sees the truth. The ignorant man does not realize the unreality of the objects, big or small, because he has not realized the reality. He who has attained the state of pure being is never sullied, whether he lives or dies, at home or elsewhere, in luxury or in mendicancy, mendicancy. Whether he enjoys and dances or he renounces everything and isolates himself on a mountain. Whether he wears expensive creams and scents, or he wears knitted locks or falls into the fire. Whether he commits sins or performs virtuous deeds. Whether he dies or lives till the end of the world cycle. For he does nothing. It is only the conditioned mind that is tainted because of its ego sense and the notions attached to it. When all notions have ceased and wisdom has arisen, the impurities of mind are removed naturally. When all notions have ceased and wisdom has arisen, the impurities of the mind are removed naturally. The enlightened sage stands to gain nothing by either doing anything or by not doing anything. Even as a tree does not spring from a stone, desires do not appear in the life of a sage. Should they arise at times, they instantly vanish like writings on water. The sage and the entire universe are not different from each other. He continues, O Rama, infinite consciousness becomes aware of the pungency of the chili, and this gives rise to the ego sense, with all its differentiation in time and space. The infinite consciousness becomes aware of the savor in the salt, and that gives rise to the ego sense, with all the differentiation which seems to exist in time and space. The infinite consciousness becomes aware of the sweetness in sugarcane, and thereby arises the awareness of its particular characteristics. Similarly, the infinite consciousness, being the indwelling omnipresence, becomes aware of the nature of a rock, a mountain, a tree, of water, of space, and thus self-consciousness or individuality arises. Thus, the natural combination of atomic particles and molecules apparently acts as a dividing wall, thus giving rise to the divisions of I, you, etc. These then appear to be outside of consciousness as its object. In fact, all these are but reflections in the consciousness, which, becoming aware of them within itself, bestows upon them their apparent individuality. In fact, all these are but reflections in the consciousness, which, becoming aware of them within itself, bestows upon them their apparent individuality. Consciousness tastes itself, the awareness being non-different from consciousness, and that appears to give rise to ego sense, etc. Not else. The crystal of this infinite consciousness reflects its own light of consciousness, which is present in all these combinations of atomic particles, and they then gain an apparent self-consciousness and think I am, etc. In reality, because the inner awareness is all these combinations, in reality, because the inner awareness in all these combinations is not different from the infinite consciousness, there is no subject-object relationship between them. Hence, one does not experience the other, gain the other, or change or modify the other. O Rama, all that I have said above is but a play of words to help your comprehension. There is no such thing as I or the world, the combination of atomic particles. There is neither mind, nor an object of knowledge, nor the world illusion. There is neither mind, nor an object of knowledge, nor the world illusion. Just as water acquires the appearance of a whirlpool with a personality of its own, consciousness seems to give the appearance of I within itself. Just as water acquires the appearance of a whirlpool with a personality of its own, consciousness seems to give the appearance of I within itself. But consciousness is consciousness only, whether it thinks of itself as Lord Shiva or as a little jiva. Consciousness is consciousness only, whether it thinks of itself as Lord Shiva or little jiva. All these diversity of I, you, and of the material substances arises from the satisfaction of the ignorant, Whatever the ignorant person imagines in the infinite consciousness, that alone he sees. In the light of awareness, life is seen as consciousness. When it is regarded as life, life appears to be no more than life. In the light of awareness, life is seen as consciousness. When it is regarded as life, life appears to be no more than life. There is in reality no essential distinction between life and consciousness. In the same way, there is no real and essential distinction between the Jiva, that is individual, and Shiva, the cosmic being. Know all this to be undivided and indivisible, infinite consciousness. In the same way, there is no real and essential distinction between the Jiva, that is the individual, and the cosmic being, the Shiva. Know all this to be undivided and indivisible, infinite consciousness.
Vasistha continued, O Rama, there is a great monarch whose vision is unlimited, who rules over the Videha territory. He is known as Janaka. To those who seek his aid, he is a cornucopia. In his very presence, the heart lotuses of his friends blossom. He is like unto a son for them. He is a great benefactor to all good people. One day, he went to a pleasure garden where he roamed freely. While he was thus roaming, he heard the inspiring words uttered by certain holy perfected ones. Thus did the perfected sages sing. We contemplate that self which reveals itself as the pure experience of bliss, when the seer, the experiencer, comes into contact with the object, the experience, without a division or conceptualization. We contemplate the self in which the objects are reflected non-volitionally, since the divided experience, predicate, of subject-object and the intention or volition that created this division have all ceased. We contemplate that light that illumines all that shines, the self that transcends the twin concepts of is and is not, and which therefore is in the middle of the two sides, as it were. We contemplate that reality in which everything exists, to which everything belongs, from which everything has emerged, which is the cause of everything and which is everything. We contemplate the self, which is the very basis of all language and expression, being the Alpha and the Omega, which covers the entire field from A to Ha, and which is indicated by the word Aham, I. Alas, people run after other objects, foolishly giving up the Lord who dwells in the cave of one's own heart. He who, having known the worthlessness of the objects, still remains bound at heart to them, is not a human being. One should strike down every craving with the rod of wisdom, whether that craving has arisen or is about to arise in the heart. One should enjoy the delight that flows from peace. The man whose mind is well controlled is firmly established in peace. When the heart is thus established in peace, there arises the pure bliss of the self without delay. Vasistha continued, having heard the words of the sages, King Janaka became terribly depressed. With the utmost expedition, he retraced his steps to the palace, quickly dismissing all his attendants. He sought the seclusion of his own chamber. In a mood of intense anguish, King Janaka said to himself, Alas, alas, I am helplessly swinging like a stone in this world of misery. What is the duration of a lifespan in eternity? Yet I have developed a love for it. What is sovereignty even during a whole lifetime? Yet, like a fool, I think I cannot do without it. This lifespan of mine is but a trivial moment. Eternity stretches before and after it. How shall I cherish it now? Ah, who is that magician who has spread this illusion called the world and thus deluded me? How is it that I am so deluded? Realizing that what is near and what is far is all in my mind, I shall give up the apprehension of all external objects. Knowing that all the busyness in this world leads only to endless suffering, what hope shall I cherish for happiness? Day after day, month after month, year after year, moment after moment, I see happiness comes to me bearing sorrow, and sorrow comes to me again and again. Whatever is seen or experienced here is subject to change and destruction. There is nothing whatsoever in this world which the wise would rely on. They who are exalted today are trodden underfoot tomorrow. O foolish mind, what shall we trust in this world? Alas, I am bound without a cord. I am tainted without impurity. I am fallen, though remaining at the top. Oh, myself, what a mystery. Even as the ever-brilliant sun suddenly faces a cloud floating in front of him, I find this strange delusion mysteriously floating towards me. Who are these friends and relatives? What are these pleasures? Even as a boy seeing a ghost is frightened, I am deluded by these fanciful relatives. Knowing all such relatives as cords that bind me to this old age, death, etc., I still cling to them. Let these relatives continue or perish. What is it to me? Great events and great men have come and gone, leaving just a memory behind. On what shall one place reliance even now? Even the gods and the Trinity have come and gone a million times. What is permanent in this universe? It is vain hope that binds one to this nightmare known as world appearance. By on this wretched condition. And Janaka continued, I am like an ignorant fool deluded by the goblin known as the ego sense, which creates the false feeling, I am so and so. Knowing full well that time has trampled underfoot countless gods and trinities, I still entertain love for life. Days and nights are spent in vain cravings, not in the experience of the bliss of infinite consciousness. I have gone from sorrow to greater sorrow, but this passion does not arise in me. What shall I regard as excellent or desirable, seeing that whatever one cherished in this world has passed away, leaving one miserable? Day by day, people in this world grow in sin and violence. Hence, day by day, they experience greater sorrow. Childhood is wasted in ignorance. Youth is wasted in lusting after pleasures, and the rest of one's life is spent in family worries. What does a stupid person achieve in this life? Even if one performs great religious rites, one may go to heaven, nothing more. What is heaven? Is it on earth or in the netherworld? And is there a place which is untouched by affliction? Sorrow brings happiness, and happiness brings sorrow on its shoulders. The pores of the earth are filled by the dead bodies of beings, hence it looks solid. There are beings in this universe whose winking is of the duration of an epoch. What is my lifespan in comparison? Of course, there appear to be delightful and enduring objects in this world. They bring with them endless worries and anxieties. Prosperity is truly adversity, and adversity may be desirable depending upon the effect upon the mind. Mind alone is the seed for this delusion of world appearance. It is the mind that gives rise to the false sense of I and mine. In this world which appears to have been created, even as the fruit of coconut palm might appear to have been dislodged by a crow, which coincidentally happens to alight on the tree at that moment, sheer ignorance generates feelings like, this I should have, and this I should reject. It is better to spend one's time in seclusion or in hell than to live in this world appearance. Intention or motivation alone is the seed for this world appearance. I shall dry up this motivation. I have enjoyed and suffered all kinds of experiences. Now I shall rest. I shall not grieve anymore. I have been awakened. I shall slay this thief, the mind, who has stolen my wisdom. I have been well instructed by the sages. Now I shall seek self-knowledge. Vasistha continued. Seeing the king thus seated, engrossed in deep contemplation, his bodyguard respectfully approached him and said, Lord, it is time to consider your royal duties. Your Majesty's handmaiden awaits your pleasure, having prepared your perfumed bath. The holy priests await your arrival in the bath chamber to commence the chanting of the appropriate hymns. Lord, arise, and let what has to be done be done, for noble men are never unpunctual or negligent. But the king ignored the bodyguard's words and continued to muse. What shall I do with this court and the royal duties when I know that all these are ephemeral? They are useless to me. I shall renounce all activities and duties, and I shall remain immersed in the bliss of the self. O mind, abandon your craving for sense pleasures so that you may be rid of the miseries of repeated old age and death. Whatever be the condition in which you hope to enjoy happiness, that very condition proves to be the source of unhappiness. Enough of this sinful, conditioned, pleasure-seeking life. Seek the delight that is natural and inherent in you. Seeing that the king was silent, the bodyguard became silent too. The king once again said to himself, "What shall I seek to gain in this universe? On what eternal truth in this universe shall I rest with confidence? What difference does it make if I am engaged in ceaseless activity or if I remain idle? Nothing in this world is truly enduring in any case. Whether active or idle, this body is impermanent and ever-changing. When the intelligence is rooted in equanimity, what is lost and how? I do not long for what I do not have, nor do I desire to abandon what has come to me unsought. I am firmly established in the self. Let what is mine be mine. There is nothing that I should work for, nor is there any meaning in inaction. Whatever is gained by action or by inaction is false. When the mind is thus established in desirelessness, when it does not seek pleasure, when the body and its limbs perform their natural functions, action and inaction are of equal value or meaning. Hence, let the body engage itself in its natural functions. Without such activity, the body will disintegrate. When the mind ceases to entertain the notions, I do this, I enjoy this, in regard to the actions thus performed, action becomes no action. Vasistha continued. Reflecting thus, King Janaka rose from his seat as the sun rises in the horizon and began to engage himself in the royal duties without any attachment to them. Having abandoned all concepts of the desirable and the undesirable, freed from all psychological conditioning and intention, he engaged himself in spontaneous and appropriate action, as if in deep sleep, though wide awake. He performed the day's tasks, including the adoration of the holy ones, and at the conclusion of the day he retired to his own seclusion to spend the night in deep meditation, which was easy and natural to him. His mind had naturally turned away from all confusion and delusion, and had become firmly established in equanimity. And when he rose in the morning, King Janaka thus reflected in his own mind, "O unsteady mind, this worldly life is not conducive to your true happiness. Hence, reach the state of equanimity. It is in such equanimity that you will experience peace, bliss, and the truth. Whenever you create perverse thinking in yourself, out of your wantonness, it is then that this world illusion begins to expand and spread out. It is when you entertain desire for pleasure that this world illusion sprouts countless branches. It is thought that gives rise to this network of world appearance. Hence, abandon this whim and fancy and attain to equanimity. Weigh in the balance of your wisdom, the sense pleasures on one side and the bliss of peace on the other. Whatever you determine to be the truth, seek that. Give up all hopes and expectations, and freed from the wish to seek or to abandon, roam about freely. Let this world appearance be real or unreal. Let it arise or set, but do not let its merits and demerits disturb your equanimity. For at no time do you have a real relationship with this world appearance. It is only because of your ignorance that such a relationship has appeared in you. O mind, you are false, and this world experience is also false. Hence, there is a mysterious relationship between you two, like the relationship between the barren woman and her son. If you think that you are real and that the world is unreal, how can a valid relationship exist between the two? On the other hand, if both are real, where then is the justification for exaltation and sorrow? Hence, abandon sorrow and resort to deep contemplation, There is naught here in this world which can lead you to the state of fullness. Hence, resolutely take refuge in courage and endurance, and overcome your own waywardness. Vasistha continued. Having reached the understanding already described, Janaka functioned as the king and did all that was necessary, without getting befuddled, and with a great strength of mind and spirit. His mind was not distracted by royal pleasures. In fact, he moved about as if he were continually in a state of deep sleep. From then on, he was interested neither in accumulating nor in rejecting things. Without any doubt or confusion, he lived in the present. His wisdom was uninterrupted, and his intelligence did not become clouded again by impurities. The light of self-knowledge, Chid Atma, rose in his heart, free from the least taint of impurity and sorrow, even as the sun rises on the horizon. He beheld everything in the universe as existing in cosmic power, Chid Shakti. Endowed with self-knowledge, he saw all things in the self which is infinite. Knowing that all that happens naturally, he neither experienced elation nor suffered depression, and remained in unbroken equanimity. Janaka had become a liberated one while still living, Jivan Mukta. Janaka continued to rule the kingdom without his self-knowledge setting or rising again on account of the influence of the evil or the good prevalent around him. Remaining forever in the consciousness of the infinite, he experienced the state of non-action, even though he appeared to others to be ever busy in diverse actions. All his tendencies and intentions had ceased to be. Hence, though he appeared to be active, he was really in a state of deep sleep all the time. He did not brood over the past, nor did he worry over the future. He lived in the present moment, smiling happily all the time. Janaka attained whatever he did by dint of his own inquiry. Similarly, one should pursue the inquiry into the nature of truth till one reaches the very limits of such inquiry. Self-knowledge or knowledge of truth is not had by resorting to a guru, preceptor, nor by the study of scripture, nor by good works. It is attained only by means of inquiry, inspired by the company of wise and holy men. One's inner light alone is the means, nothing else. When this inner light is kept alive, it is not affected by the darkness of inertia. The chapter. Vasistha continued, whatever sorrows there may be that seem to be difficult to overcome are easily crossed over with the help of the boat of wisdom, the inner light. He who is devoid of this wisdom is bothered even by minor difficulties. But he who has this wisdom, even if he is alone and helpless in this world, and even if he is unlearned in the scriptures, easily crosses the sea of sorrow. Even without the help of another, a man of wisdom accomplishes his work. He who is without wisdom does not. Nay, even his capital is lost. Hence, one should constantly endeavor to gain this inner light or wisdom, even as one who aspires for fruits exerts constant effort in his garden. Wisdom is the root which, when thus constantly nourished, yields the good fruits of self-knowledge. The effort and the energy that are directed by the people in worldly activities should first be directed to the gaining of this wisdom. One should first destroy the dullness of wit, which is the source of all sorrow and calamities, and which is the seed for this huge tree of world appearance. And whatever is gained in heaven or in the netherworld, or by empires here, is gained by wisdom here and now. By wisdom is this ocean of world appearance crossed over, not by charity, nor by pilgrimage, nor by austerities. Those men who are endowed with divine virtues here gain them through wisdom. Even kings have gained their throne through wisdom. Wisdom is surely the path to heaven, as well as to supreme good or liberation. It is by wisdom alone that a meek scholar wins in a contest against a powerful adversary. Wisdom, or the inner light, is like the legendary precious stone or Rama, which bestows on its owner whatever he wishes to have. He who has this wisdom reaches the other shore of this world illusion easily. He who does not have this wisdom drowns in world illusion. When one's intelligence and understanding are properly guided by this inner light, one reaches the further shore. If not, one is overcome by obstacles. Defects, desires, and evils do not even approach that man of wisdom whose mind is undeluded. Through wisdom, in the inner light, the entire world is clearly seen as it is. Neither good fortune nor misfortune even approach one who has such clear vision. Even as the dense dark cloud that veils the sun is dispersed by wind, the darkness of ego sense which veils the self is dispelled by wisdom, inner light. He who seeks to be established in the highest state of consciousness should first purify his mind by the cultivation of wisdom, or by the kindling of the inner light, even as one who desires food grains tills the field. Thank you all for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai. Sadhguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.